In the United States, there's plenty of issues that young people should be concerned about. It can be anything from gun violence to women's rights. There's so many issues that sometimes it can get a little cloudy. People don't know what exactly to be worried about. It's hard to find a main concern. Oftentimes, people are scared to find a main concern because a lot of these things are politically charged. But I believe there is one issue that isn't politically charged and is important to our future. This would be the decrease in bee populations in the United States. While this is not just solely an issue in the United States, it's something that could greatly affect us in a negative way. The reason that bees are so extremely important to the United States is that they are our top 4 pollinators. First being wild bees, second honeybees, third being enclosed bees, these are bees that are kept by beekeepers, and lastly being all other bee types. Now, you can see how crazy this is. Bees are so good at pollinating, different subtypes of bees beat out any other type of pollinator throughout the United States. But there is a reason that bees are so good at pollinating. First of all, their entire life is dedicated to pollinating. This may seem a little crazy, but it's true. I know they make honey, but without pollinating, honey wouldn't be made. Secondly, they pollinate 80% of all the United States cultivated crops, which is crazy. That means the rest of the pollinators that we have in the United States only cultivate 20% of our cultivated crops, which is super crazy. But it just really tells us how important bees are. Even if they are still this important, even if they are still having 80% of all cultivated crops, their populations are decreasing rapidly, especially in the past few years because of things like herbicides and more. And this could create serious consequences for those of us in the United States. The main concern I have is with our economy here in the United States. It's no surprise, especially in small town Iowa and throughout the Midwest, that agriculture is extremely important to us. I mean, I personally live around cornfields. Agriculture builds our economy here. And even in the United States, it's still extremely important. The main thing being is that without bees, our plant-based agriculture could go down rapidly. And plant-based agriculture is not just the only thing. We need our plants to be able to feed our animal-based agriculture. They rely on each other. And without having them, our whole agriculture, part of our economy could fall apart. And even if we do have other types of pollinators, they could not replace what bees have created. As I said, bees pollinate 80% of our cultivated crops. There's no way that our other pollinators who only do 20% could replicate what we have done. There's no way. And so we need to ensure that bee populations continue to go on the rise instead of decreasing because they could not be replaced. In America, agriculture accounts for 5.4% of the gross domestic product. While this is not a huge number and there are plenty of areas that are bigger, this doesn't mean that agriculture is not important. Agriculture relates to a lot of different areas of life. Not to mention, it's a pretty common trend in the gross domestic product. If one area goes down, the other areas seem to too, because everything is connected. The main 3 connections that I tend to see are between real estate, healthcare, and agriculture. Agriculture and real estate really do connect. This may be hard to think of if you live in a big city, but here in small town Iowa, it's pretty easy. Many people, especially farmers, buy acres of land specifically to grow crops on. And without bees to pollinate that land, people aren't going to want to buy real estate. People are going to want to pull out of the farming business and are going to want to sell their land, but if things are that bad, nobody's going to want to buy them. And so, this creates a state of dismay where people are trying desperately to sell their land, but nobody wants it. Also, ag and healthcare are extremely connected as well. With health, you need food. You need food to survive. And while we do have things coming in from different countries, we like to use the food grown on our land. And without that food, there could be major starvation issues within the United States. That, and also plants are often used to make pharmaceuticals, and pharmaceuticals are another huge part of our economy and another huge part of the gross domestic product. And so without creating pharmaceuticals, our economy could easily go down. Now, there are a lot of ways that we can help bees. First of all, bees need things to be able to pollinate. And so by helping bees, you can plant flowers or vegetables or have some fruit. Planting anything will help bees because you are helping them by giving them more things to pollinate, which means that they will reproduce more bees because there's a more need for them. Another thing that we can do is help to be not so scared of bees. While this may be difficult, as somebody who is generally afraid of bugs, it is definitely well worth it. You have to take your time and don't just jump headfirst into it. Don't go straight into a big swarm of bees. You just need to take it slowly. During the summer when you see a bee, don't be scared, don't run away, just walk slowly past it. As you see, bees are not temperamental creatures. They actually are very nice, and they only sting when they feel threatened. The worst part of this being is oftentimes bees are killed when they sting because their stingers get ripped out and they die. And this is very bad for bees because, like I said, their populations are already on the decrease. So if we continue to help bees by not being scared of them and not making them feel like they need to sting us, then their populations will continue to rise. In conclusion, bees are extremely important to our economy. It's oftentimes hard to figure that out, and it's hard to see it that way, but I have thoroughly explained how agriculture is truly connected to everything that we do. Agriculture is connected to healthcare, it's connected to real estate, and if people are not getting paid enough in healthcare and real estate because agriculture is going down, then oftentimes they're not going to want to buy things, and all other parts of our economy will fall apart. Bees really do hold a special place, and they cannot be replaced. There was a huge movement in 2016 about helping our bees. This did not last for long, though, as it did end up dying. The worst part of this being is that bee populations did not improve. Bee populations were still going down, and they still are. But I believe with this whole pandemic that we have going on, this is just another time for us to come together as a whole. I know the United States can be divided at times, but I know that we all want what's best for us. What's best for us is keeping the bee population alive. Without them, we will fall short. 80% of our cultivated crops will not get pollinated, and that is a huge number. Another thing to think about is that bees, they have something to do with 1/3 of the food that we eat. Whether it's honey or it's something that they pollinated, they have something to do with it. Imagine 1/3 of the food that we eat being gone. There is already some sort of hunger issue within the United States. While it's not as bad as other countries, it's still there. And without bees, this could be even worse. But I believe in the United States, and I believe that they can do what is right. This isn't something that's politically charged. It's not something that people have to worry about. We don't have to worry about it now, but it could happen. It's something that people need to be concerned with.